Guys, I have a problem. I can't stop fixing things and people are now asking me to fix things, and I should be saying no because I've got too much of my own, but I don't want it to be thrown out. Let's see if we can fix this Hitachi angle grinder. Hey guys, Chris the Ultimate Recycler. Yes, my problem is real. It's not a dream. Christine's at the shop quite often when I say to people, yeah, I can fix that, leave it with me. And she says, stop saying yes. And she's right. I've got that much of my own stuff to do. I've got restorations I want to do. Anyway, let's forget about that. Let's see if we can fix this. It's a Hitachi angle grinder. It has a problem. I think it's an intermittent problem. I don't quite remember. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Now, because I take e-waste through the shop, I get a lot of people drop stuff off rather than throw it out, which is great. And then I can fix it in my own time, which is fine. And if I can't fix it, I will scrap it for whatever scrap value I could get. Sometimes I'll save something and make 2 out of 1. Whatever it is, I'll have a go at it. Even if I don't know or haven't done it before, I usually have some pretty good success at fixing things. And then, of course, I can test and tag it and sell it through the shop, make some dollars, and keep things out of the waste stream. Anyway, this apparently, I think, has an intermittent problem. He said it used to work fine. The last few times he's used it, it would go sometimes and not others. Now, I figure it might be a bad switch and might be a dodgy electrical connection. So let's plug it in and just see if it plays up now or if it works at all. So we'll turn it off there and we'll plug it in. Okay, now let's fire it up. I've made sure these discs are nice and tight so they shouldn't fly off. Well, that seems okay. The switch seems nice and positive. Ah, now it's not working. Now we have nothing. Okay, I've just unplugged the cord. We're going to start from the beginning where the power goes in and just check that everything's okay and there's been no damage to the cord. I probably should have had a quick look before I plugged it in. But you can get broken wires and cords, particularly in workshops and sheds. Cords can get damaged and creased and, you know, if things drop on them, but there's no obvious damage to this cord. So the motor's intermittent. We have power sometimes and not other times. If our supply cord's okay, it could be the switch, although it feels pretty positive. It could be a contact, of course, in the switch. Or another thing with these older power tools, they have brushes, and the brushes do wear out and they can cause intermittent problems. So we'll plug it back in and we'll just maybe wobble the cord a little bit here and see if it makes any difference. All right, the power's back on. Oh yeah, it started and then it hesitated. That sounds like brushes to me. That sounds like a broken wire. Let's take this cover off and see if we can find out what's going on. All right, we've put a towel on the workbench to make things a little bit more or less scratchy. And I think the screw on the end here should remove the cover and allow us access to the wiring. And we can also check the brushes. But it does seem like we've got a broken wire or a bad connection. Okay, we have the cord goes through a clamp here. And it doesn't move the other side of it, so maybe there's a broken wire in this clamp. Oh yeah, it looks like it has flexed a lot and it might have broken a wire inside. Okay, so let's remove the clamp here. And lift the cord up. We have a cable tie around the back there. We might be able to just slip that off rather than cut it. Okay, we have the neutral wire goes through a connector. The active wire goes to the switch, which is how it should be. So let's remove the cord completely. We can undo this terminal on the switch. And we can remove the wire from the little connector terminal with a suitable small screwdriver. Okay, we need to check these wires to see if one has a break in it. So I've put the meter on diode check so you'll be able to hear it as well as I think you can see the screen. And I've just got some test leads onto the meter leads. And basically when these leads connect, we will hear the diode beep, and you'll also see it on the screen as 0 resistance. So if we go to the neutral side, and blue is neutral, we have a connection. And if we wobble the wires around, that seems pretty stable. So let's switch to the live side. And again we have a connection. And whoops, was it just loose there, was it? Yeah, there's definitely a break in that wire. Somewhere where it flexes the most, the break's going to be. So I think we're going to have to shorten this, probably shorten it a few inches. Let's stop that infernal buzzing. I think we'll take it back a fair few inches. The neutral wire is fine. The other one has a little terminal on it, so we might have to resolder that terminal on so that it can be screwed to the switch. So I'll just peel back the rubber, shorten the wires, and we can't see any physical damage really to the outside of the sheath, but definitely the flexing has caused a break inside. Alright, we'll come back a few inches and we will just press the blade into the insulation, into the outer sheath, and it's the easiest way I find to strip these back. You don't want to saw across it because we don't want to cut the inside wires, but by stretching it lots, by folding it, it will just open up. There we go. Now we're not going to get that loop through there, but we've got to cut it off anyway, and it's not going to slide past where it's crimped. I can probably just cut it through there. And now we can pull the outer sheath off. And we're still not really sure where the break was. Okay, I think I'll take it back a long way further just to be safe. It still feels very soft where we bend it there. So we'll go a few inches back and we're sure to get rid of the bad spot. And now we can see where the bad spot is. Definitely a broken wire there. So that was a fair way back from the actual grinder. Alright, so we can snip that off. How much length do we need? Yep, we can snip that off just behind the brake. And the other one the same. And strip them back. And we should be good to go. Now I might just cut the insulation off the back of this terminal. Okay, I've managed to clean up that little eyelet and reuse it. I basically just cut the old wire out with the side cutters, ran a bit of a file through the crimp section, and then tinned the active wire or the live wire and soldered it in, and then some heat shrink tubing. I don't like crimp on terminals. I'd much prefer to solder them in. So that should be perfectly fine now. We've just got to get it into position here. The neutral, I probably could have tinned the neutral wire as well, but it's going to go into this clamp, into this connector. It will be fine. We'll probably put that in first, I think. We'll fold the wire over. I like to give them double thickness. And there's a lot less chance of them coming out. We better back that screw out a bit more. And now we can do that one up. I was going to reuse this old cable clamp. I think we're better off putting a new clamp on it. Zip tie, I mean. Alright, now we've got to put the active to the switch. So we'll attach that one. That's nice and secure. And we'll fold those wires around. I guess the connector block can sit down there out of the road. We need to get the outer sheath inside this clamp to give some strain relief. There, that's well and truly clamped the cable. So there's no worries there about having wires yanked on unnecessarily. I think that connector will sit fine down there. That's probably where it's supposed to go. It's nice and secure and tight. There we go. That looks really neat. We'll just get a cable tie. I don't think we even really need one, you know. We will put a cable tie around here. It will help hold this capacitor secure. It's a little bit too big for the job, but I think it won't get in the road. And it'll hold that connector. Yep, that's good. It won't get in the road of the switch. No, the switch is already off there. That's fine. Okay, that's all secured. Now we can slide the cover up and just give it a quick test, but I do want to check the brushes before we give it back to the owner. So let's just put this cover on so that we're safe to start it up. And make sure, of course, it all fits. There we go, it fits snugly. We don't need to put the screw in. Let's plug it in and make sure it's going to work first. Okay, let's power it up. Beautiful, that's good. There's no issues now with the wiring. But I've just unplugged it again. Let's just check the brushes. While we've got it here, it's easy to do. So the power is disconnected again. They have a spring retainer, which you can lift up just with it. I'm just using a scribe. Push a spring to the one side, and we can lift the brush out. And they're pretty short. No, they're not too bad, actually. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. We won't worry about replacing them. They're really easy to get to anyway. So there we go. We'll call that fixed. I'll put the cover back on and put the screw in. Job's done. So there you go, guys. A quick repair job. Saved a grinder from being thrown into the e-waste stream. It was a pretty easy fault to fix. And they're not hard to diagnose if you start from the beginning and work your way through. Never assume anything. Check it all. So look, it could have needed brushes, but they're quite good. I think this will have a long life now. Much better than either scrapping it or throwing it to the e-waste. I'm going to charge the guy maybe just $20. I certainly don't want it to get out there that I'm doing free repairs, and I don't want it to get out there that I'm doing too many. Well, I'm available to do everyone's repairs because I just simply can't. But I'm getting some videos out of them, I'm saving some stuff, and I'll make a few dollars out of it as well. That's all good, and I'm sure the guy will be very happy to have his grinder back. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.